Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just a question asker. My name is Raheem Algerman out of Atlanta, Georgia, but we got my brothers from another mother, but we got the same father. We have first Toussaint. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning,
Good
good
morning, good morning,
morning,
and
and
good
good morning.
And good morning. And good morning, TikTok. I see y'all coming in. Good morning. The phone lines are open
Come
508
on, man.
924 3521 508 924 3521. You just might want to be a part of this conversation today. We want to get your input. Badger, good morning, brother. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Another beautiful and blessed day.
Yes, Lord. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so we're gonna kick this thing off, man. And we're gonna kick this thing off with a doozy because I got a question for y'all. This particular question that I got, I posed it last night to my wife and to a few others. And the conversation was very interesting. The conversation was very interesting. And throughout the course of the conversation, the viewpoints changed a couple of times. Viewpoints changed a couple of times. And so I want to hear from you. Tucson, I'm starting off with you. Where you be is. That's a country word. Where you be is. Tucson, what is the difference, Tucson, between a white supremacist and a racist? Wow. 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 And he's scratching his head. No, his head don't itch. He's scratching his head, y'all. If y'all can see him, he's over there. I got the wise man scratching his head.
You can learn a lot from a dummy, but not this morning,
Mm-hmm.
because uh, supremacy. Okay, um, a racist is a hater
Mm-hmm.
of a person just because they are not of the same skin color.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And we're describing a racist right now. Okay. Okay.
racist. That's a
Mm-hmm.
racist
Mm-hmm.
because of they're not the same nationality of the same.
Mm-hmm.
A white supremacist thinks that he's God's best creation,
Mm-hmm.
that he better than everybody else
Mm-hmm.
because he's white.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
I'm gonna sit that down for a minute. I'm gonna think
okay.
that over.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna tell you something. Your view may change a couple of times throughout the course of the conversation. Your view, because we're gonna go real deep on this thing, and I got another level. I got a little twist that I'm gonna give to this later on in the broadcast as well. But let me go to Badger. Badger, what is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist?
One's ha- one's hateful, one's evil.
And which one is that?
Hateful is the racist, evil is the white supremacist.
Hmm. So the
They're-
racist is not evil.
No, it's just ignorant.
Ignorance could bring about a level of that as well.
I mean, that's going to be that's a tough comment to make.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as- Ignorance has caused a lot of trouble all around,
Mm-hmm.
even those that think that they're good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another path. That's a whole other direction.
Man, you can't be on here yawning in the morning, man. I know it's early, man, but you can't be on here yawning.
My coffee ain't done brewing.
Mm.
Um, I'm surprised y'all heard that. Goodness gracious.
I tell you, I can hear everything. I hear everything, man.
I know I need to figure out how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Less than that or something. Um, but the white supremacist is the one that's currently in power. It's the one that does classism. It's the one that does the bare minimum. It's the one that misdirects, causes illusions. I wouldn't call them just a racist in no way, shape, or form because they'll hurt anyone and everybody,
And that's the
even
white
their own.
supremacists.
That's
That's
the
the
white supremacists.
okay.
They are the power hungry. They are the I don't care who you are, what you are. We want power and we'll walk over and do anything we can to keep it,
Mm-hmm.
including slavery, genocide, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's anyone that does the supremacy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this morning, we're specifically talking about the white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which one do you think, if any of them, is more evil?
anyone that's practicing supremacy is
Okay, is the supremacist more evil than the racist, or vice versa?
supremacist.
Is more racist? Is wow, wow. Okay.
To me, the supremacist is the one that made the deal with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
They are the Roman guy that agreed to do wow, my brain this morning. That decided to help take Jesus out,
Mm-hmm.
or thought that they could anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Donald, what was his name?
Which one? Pilate, Herod.
No, the one that kind of like signed the paper, going, all right, yeah, let's crucify Jesus.
I think you're talking about Judas, the one that took
No,
this.
no, 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 no. The one that I think it was Herod or Pilate, one of the two. Because it says, "I find no fault in this guy," and then he asked the people, uh, which you got Barabbas and Judas. I mean Jesus. It says the known criminal and Jesus, the one that calls himself the Son of God. He gave him a choice. I'll look it up and I find out. But it was one either Herod or Pilate. Pilate, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gave us the option, and I say us. But you said I'm kind of confused. You said that was white supremacists. There we go. How you get that one? I'm just asking. Was he white supremacist
No,
or
I
what
don't
you
think he was right. I think he was more tan, but supremacist.
or supremacist? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
not white supremacist, just supremacist.
Yeah.
Okay,
We just use white supremacy predominantly nowadays because it's predominantly white folks, white skinned human beings that are doing it currently.
but aren't they the same
Yeah, the
race?
supremacist is a supremacist.
But is it a form of
No,
racism? I say it again.
no,
Why
it's
not?
beyond racism.
It is racism.
No, it goes past that.
Mm.
It
So
has
white.
an
So you saying white supremacy goes past racism?
Yeah, white
Okay.
supremacism. Like, to give an example, okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we're gonna do a fake scenario.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that you're a supremacist,
Mm-hmm.
a black supremacist
Okay.
in quotation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know I'm white skinned.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to stir up all kinds of things and enslave or whatever. Well, I mean, I'm native, so you could you come over to a new land, you take everything you want, all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As time went on, more of your people show up, but you create this class system, classism.
Mm-hmm.
And then anyone that isn't, as smart, as lucky, disabled or whatever, you don't want them getting along with the light skinned people. So you're going to create all these illusions and misdirections, and you're going to introduce racism. You're going to introduce, oh, you can't be over there because they have a mark of something evil. They this and this and that and that. Racism is to me, is a um, result of supremacy.
Mm. So racism is a birth child of supremacy, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Wow, wow. Tucson, how do you feel about that? He said racism is a love child, if you will, of supremacy. Do you agree with that?
So you said racism is a result of supremacy.
Yes.
Racism is a result of supremacy. Okay, I can agree with that. For
Can you?
well, if I feel like I'm better
Mm-hmm.
than somebody else, then I'm going to treat them definitely with less respect than I would anybody that is like me. I'm at a toss
Mm-hmm. Talk to me.
because I was looking at the comment. I think this public citizen that says
Yeah.
all races and cultures have a supremacist, and
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that because there are some people that just figure that they better than some other folks just because they got a few dollars.
Mm-hmm.
They manipulate people
Mm-hmm.
because they can.
Now, is that the racist or the supremacist?
That's supremacist.
Okay.
Everybody is has a form of racist. There are some people that I don't know. I don't know if I could say I'm racist against them. I just don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And see what we do, Raheem.
What if they look like you? Is that still racism?
I can't say what I. My brother used to say. My brother used to say. And he would say y'all have to excuse me. He would
Mm-hmm.
say the N word,
Yeah.
and he'll say niggas and flies, niggas and
Yeah.
flies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The more I see niggas, the more I like flies.
Good Lord.
So what that means
Woo.
is that um there are some people that act a certain way that make you call them something.
Mm-hmm. Make you.
Yeah, they act like something.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't, and y'all have to excuse me because I don't like. I'm nobody's. I might be African American, but when can I say? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. When somebody say, "Hey, Manuga," no,
Yeah.
I ain't. The
Mm-hmm.
devil is a lie.
Yeah.
The devil is a lie. I don't care what you up for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
You can be having that conversation and mean it in the best way, but I am not the devil. No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even African American. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they call me. The devil is a lie. You can't pick what I'm gonna be because that fits you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there we go with your supremacist. You feel like you supreme, so you gonna name me. Oh, you're the colored folk,
Mm-hmm.
the Negro, the black man, or
Mm-hmm.
the white man, or the Asian, or the coon. You
Come
know,
on.
and when people feel like they can say what they want to because of their status in life, they feel like
Mm-hmm.
they are this uh with your uppity self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we all here's my deal with this thing. We
Mm-hmm.
all got a grave, my friend. You getting
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask y'all this question
Mm.
because y'all touched on it a little bit, and Badger, I'm gonna bring it back to you.
Yes, sir.
Does a white supremacist necessarily have to be racist? Because a lot of times supremacy is something or someone that thinks very highly of their group, their particular group. But does that necessarily mean that they hate everybody else?
I guess hate could be a strong word in those situations. I guess I would almost want to say they're in love with
Themselves.
themselves
Yes.
and their people so much that all of their actions and behaviors come across as um um hateful, right? Where we get the isms
Mm-hmm.
as a result of their very, very selfish love.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But does that necessarily mean because of the fact that they have a great love for themselves and their people, does that mean that they hate everybody else? Does that necessarily mean that they're
uh,
racist?
okay, hold on. That's where things get weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said for their people.
Mm-hmm.
If they're, if let's say we're using the term white
Yeah.
in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
the way I think, the way I live, and my belief, and who my ancestors are, I wouldn't be considered part of that group.
Mm-hmm. Love that cup, Toussaint.
So I look like them,
Mm-hmm.
but my ancestry ain't. My belief is not the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm not their people.
Okay. But but
So
but is a white supremacist naturally, normally, in all aspects, is a white supremacist because he or she love his or her people? Does that necessarily deem them to be racist?
oh, that just comes with the territory. However, the weird part is they hate everybody equally.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
That's
Thank you.
where the isms come
Thank
in because
you, Ginger. Thanks for the
uh,
call.
um
Mm-hmm.
look at Trump,
Mm-hmm.
look at Biden,
Mm-hmm.
look at Ted Cruz, look at these different politicians whose names have been floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Have they just been sitting up there doing all this talk, or are they truly actually been helping people to some degree?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that's where you get into the supremacy stuff. And unfortunately, supremacy causes classism, racism, and things like that. Now, if we're talking about KKK, Aryan Brotherhood, and those other groups of that nature, then that's literally, there's always been groups like that throughout history and in all races, groups, religions, and things of that nature. The extremist.
Okay, but Badger, get back to my question, brother. Does that necessarily mean because they're supremacists, because they are a white supremacist, does that necessarily mean and they love their people, they really do, but does that mean that they hate everybody else? Does that put them in the category of being racist?
With the things that they'll do, their actions will look like it.
Mm.
Mm.
They will push for people to be racist, like, create the KKK kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, the supremacists are the ones that create things like Aryan Brotherhoods and the KKKs and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And as the years go on and on and on, that's where you end up with having all the racial problems, because of the way the supremacists set up laws, the way the supremacists just the way they do things.
So it's a you saying it's a progression. They don't starting out. The white supremacists don't necessarily have to be racist, but as they go through the progression of it all, they turn to a racist. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
They're the descendants.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna always have those that have the supremacy issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the kids and the grandchildren and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
they might end up being poor.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really gonna have. Might have the ideology of a supremacist, but
They don't have
it's
power.
gonna be more of a racism.
They don't have the power. Okay.
They don't have the power.
Okay. Let me go to Paul. Paul, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Morning. You caught me with food in my mouth. Doing all right.
I got perfect timing, brother. I got perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah. You plan that. Well, this is a topic that I've talked about so many, like hundreds of times with a couple. I have like one or two friends that Badger knows that are interested in this topic, and we've had this for years. So they're terms. These words are just terms, and they can be defined different ways, like supremacists and all that. But I guess I'll just answer the last question you asked. You said, are all supremacists racist, I think?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, so, this is that thing where, well, I'm not racist, like you could define racism with a lot of different ways. I'll give you just one example, though. There's one guy that I listened to a few times. His name is, I won't put his name out there, but, well, I will. It doesn't matter. Jared Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
He is a white supremacist. I don't know if he uses that term, but he uses the term like race realist, and I think he might even say he's a separatist. And he advocates for white people, and he says, we don't need immigrants because they're gonna kind of like this along the same lines of Trump with poison the blood and all that kind of stuff. But he sounds like, if you listen to him, he sounds like a nice, reasonable guy, right? But if you go under the surface below that, he doesn't like blacks. He doesn't like brown people. And his whole ideology, his whole purpose is to get white people to resent black and brown people. So,
wow.
we're talking about white supremacists.
Hey, Paul, to what extent does he go? Yeah. To what extent would he go? Is he willing to go to do that?
Well, I think he just wants white people to have a certain mindset. He wants them to go, we're different. He wants white people to go, we're a little better than the other groups, and to awaken the same mindset that gave us slavery and Jim Crow. That's the mindset he wants to reawaken.
Is he violent?
How far would he go?
Is he violent? Is he violent with it, or can he? That he has a potential to be violent with it?
I think those kind of people motivate violent people, which we've seen. He himself, I don't believe so, because he's an intellectual, right? He's like a Harvard grad or something. He's an Ivy Leaguer. He talks real smooth, but underneath the surface, the message is these other groups are our enemy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's amazing, man. We're in 2024, beginning of 2024, and we still have people that want to separate and divide instead of coming together and creating a peace. We could have a peace. We can have a peaceful existence, but there's so many people that's fighting against it, man. There's so many people that's fighting, like this person that you said. I was gonna say gentleman, but I can't even call him a gentleman. This person that you just spoke of, he's fighting against this peace that we can have. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
I was trying to look up some stuff. I'm doing like Badger, hot dog. And I don't know if I got the right names. I don't know if it's a good thing to to even have that conversation, but I ain't got nothing to lose anyway. But I was thinking about the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds
Mm-hmm.
and families like that. It's said that there's 5 families that rule the world.
Yes.
Now, let me ask the question: would that make them supremacists,
Mm.
or are they so supreme that they actually run this world? They really are the ones that dictate everything going. Don't care who the president is.
Mm-hmm.
They
Doesn't
still
matter.
got a hand in it. If you got $300 billion
Mm-hmm.
under your belt, you,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you and your family,
Mm-hmm.
$1 billion.
Mm-hmm. With the B.
I can't even imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask a question. I don't know. Maybe Badger or Paul might be able to answer that. Is there any trillionaires in this world? I don't
No,
know.
I think the closest was Elon Musk, but I think he lost a lot of his fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Moss.
Yeah.
So if does it have to be a rich person that thinks that he's a quote
Supremacist.
saying a
Supremacy.
supremacist?
Mm-hmm.
Because they got some broke folks that Lord have mercy. How in the world you gonna be? Well, let me just throw it out there. How in the world I'm saying, man, you live in a trailer.
Mm-hmm. It's
And ain't nothing
leaning.
wrong with trailers. Ain't nothing wrong with trailers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're nice.
Mhm. I lived in one before.
Yeah, I lived in one, several before.
Mm-hmm.
And they were nice, man. Some of them got jacuzzis and everything like that. But some of them, I'm talking about the tore down ones.
Yeah.
With all the trash in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
And the raggedy car that smoke.
Mm.
And you don't comb your hair, and you don't brush your teeth,
Mm.
and you dip, and ain't nothing wrong with dipping. I ain't saying that. And you don't clean your yard, and your neighbor don't clean your yard. And you got the nerve to feel like because you are supreme. You are the supreme being. And ain't nothing wrong with being poor. Because
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of folks that are poor are good, wholesome people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matter of fact, we hear stories over and over and over again that God cares for more of the poor than all these rich folks. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
for a rich man to enter into the kingdom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know why it's so hard,
Mm-hmm.
but he also says it's nothing impossible for him. But how in the world? I'm just confused.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got 2 nickels to rub together, and you feel like you're supreme.
Mm.
And I tell you this, I thought about some black folks that act like they supreme
Mm-hmm.
because they started off good when they just was a little bit when nobody was accepting them, and they was just coming out of a bad situation, and now they got all kinds of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
ain't gonna say no names,
Yeah.
but their name almost came out.
Almost slipped.
That it wasn't a slip.
Mm. Almost intentional.
Yeah, well, I'm always intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I might not say it.
Yeah. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Asking the question, what is the difference, or is there any difference between a white supremacist and a racist? And it doesn't necessarily, a white supremacist doesn't necessarily mean that because of the fact that this individual love his or her particular race, does that necessarily mean that they're racist? They could just love their people. That don't mean they hate everybody else. Go ahead, Tucson. I see your hand.
Which ones are the supremacists?
Mm.
Republicans or Democrats?
Now that's a whoo. Now that's a doozy right there. Let me go. Let me go to Pete. Pete, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing good this morning. DKM Radio Morning Global Family Panel, social media. How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Good to have you, brother. Asking a question. What is the difference between a white supremacist? And I want you to think about this for a second now. What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? And if a person is a supremacist, does that and love their people, their particular people, does that necessarily mean that they hate everybody else?
Hmm. No, I don't think not necessarily. I mean, if you have pride in yourself and you have diminished mentality to begin with, and you delegate and relegate yourself to the pigment or the lack thereof of your skin, and want to make that a big issue, that's where you are. Well, they say, God bless you. But it may not necessarily mean that you hate everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
that you want to attack everybody else. If it's pride within yourself, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it only goes, it's right until it infringes on somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not necessarily an issue until it extends to offending, harming, damaging, injuring somebody else. Now we got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
See? If you always have to be first, and then you're in the competition and you find out that you last, can you handle it with your desires to be supreme self? Because if not, then that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's really not a big problem unless you make it a problem.
Let me ask you a question. What issue did Jesse Owens present? Because it was said that
the clarification of the deranged, the ignorant, and the completely stupid. First of all, you got a bunch of purely light-skinned people that's supposed to be blonde-headed, blue-eyed, red-lipped, with mostly pale skin, following a condemned degenerate with black hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are all of y'all stupid?
Mm.
He's sitting around here telling y'all, Rabendagen, Strogenhagen, and he got black hair.
Mm.
And all of y'all got blonde hair. Like, are you colorblind? Are y'all all suffering from the stereotypical blonde condition? I'm trying to figure out, how does a whole nation of supposedly blonde-headed, blue-eyed, red-lipped, pale-skinned people follow this short, dark-haired man that's talking about the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, red-lipped, pale skin being supreme?
Mm.
Man, the narcotics, the chemicals in the water had to be strong. I'm just saying that whatever was blowing in the breeze.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Stay right there. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. We're talking this morning about what is the difference. Asking the question, what is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? Are there any differences? Do they walk hand in hand? And because of the fact that an individual, him or her, love their particular race, love their people, does that mean that they're racist? Does that necessarily mean it because they love their people? Don't necessarily mean that they hate everybody else. It's just they love their people. Badger, talk to me.
Well, boy.
Come on, Badger.
Well, the questions that Donald was asking, are there any trillionaires?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at money value, no. If you look at their assets, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Emerson family I believe, own the most land, most private land, followed by the Reed family, John Malone, and things of that nature. The Roman Catholic Church owns like 70 million hectares. I think that's the most one entity owns privately.
Mm-hmm.
As far as land goes, you look at businesses, most businesses that are owned that has the most businesses, you normally get into BlackRock and Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
So there are groups that could be considered the trillionaires plus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's assets and other things. Like a lot of these millionaires probably have much more than what they release
Mm-hmm.
publicly. And that's just the way those things go. That doesn't automatically make them a supremacist either.
Mm-hmm.
Supremacy comes in when the isms start, where if you're disabled, you're a, detriment. If you're a different race, you're a detriment. If
Mm-hmm.
you're this or this, you're a detriment or a way of income.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how many times I've ran into how much the supremacy mentality has infected human beings, and human beings have allowed it to infect their minds.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're not like 65 or older and you have an accident when you're young or something like that, being military and disabled is a lot more accepted. But there are still quite a few people that consider it a detriment because it's coming out of their tax dollars.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Okay. Okay.
But those kinds of things all come from supremacy.
Mm.
So it's that's why I say it's the parent of racism. It's the parent of classism. It's the parent of the isms.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Asking a question this morning. What is the difference between white supremacy and racism? Are there any differences? Do they walk is one the love child, like Badger said, is one the love child of the other? And because of a person is a supremacist, love their people, does that necessarily in all instances mean that they hate everybody else? I don't think so. But what do you think? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Go ahead, Tucson. Talk to me.
I
Paul,
was
come
just
to you next.
I was just thinking that I think that there are some people hate folk because they're rich
Wow. Mm-hmm.
and they have a almost an envy
Mm-hmm.
of them because they got money.
Yeah. Yeah.
They wish they would fall from the face of the earth. They get jealous of them. They want to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
How you want to be like somebody?
Yeah. I don't.
I don't mind having a couple of dollars. I think that if somebody thought within their heart to share some of that wealth,
Mm-hmm.
I'd take it.
$ DKM Radio. You want to send some money? Here you go. $ that's Cash App. $ DKM Radio. And Biggie said, more money, more problems. I'm here to take some of your problems away from you. I don't want you to have to suffer with all those problems.
But you
$
know, go ahead.
DKM Radio. If you want to send some dollars over here, there you go. Come on, send them on.
And
Go ahead.
and if there's a way that is so great of an amount that you can't send it through Cash App, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Not we. I mean, I ain't gonna get nothing.
Yeah, you
I ain't.
if they said
Raheem give blank check with no value.
look here, I'm gonna tell you something. If they send us a great amount over here to DK, all us gonna get a piece of it.
Hey,
we all gonna get a piece of the pie.
well, I'm just put it out there. There's other avenues that we can bring in the funds. So anyway, so I don't think that if a person is per se what we're saying white supremacists, that don't make them racist, but it can cause some of them to be racist.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that's white supremacists that are racist.
If it's not in their heart, you think if it's not in their heart, do you think it still could lead them in that direction?
They'll never see it.
Mm.
They got people that are actually we would say that they're racist, but they just think they better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They might not have a racist bone in their body.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember when Trump said he wouldn't have nobody, no black folks counting his money or something to that effect. I don't want to misquote the dude, but that dude, he may not be a racist. He's just strange. He crazy as a wet dog.
Mm-hmm.
He just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And people think he's genius. He's brilliant because he don't pay his taxes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people want to be like him.
Yeah.
He got businesses that are supposedly and millions of dollars, but he don't pay his bills.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
He'll just file bankrupt. Done with it. Ain't got that's. And some people say that's sharp, that's smart, that's crooked, that's a criminal. They'll lock me up.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. Yeah, quickly.
But
And
some people, they got some people right now, Raheem, and I say this all the time, and they homeless right now because they moved to Florida because they wanted to be around Trump.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because they're supreme
Mm-hmm.
and homeless.
And homeless.
No 3 teeth in their mouth and they rotten. And
Wow.
they're better than me.
Mm.
And there's nothing wrong with having cavities.
Yeah.
Because I had to take mine out. But I'm telling you, I work with some people, man.
Where'd you take them to some McDonald's or Burger King?
No, dude, they put them in a they gave them to me.
You say
They told me you can take them home with you.
You say you took them out in the morning. Did you take them to
They
McDonald's?
took them to the Cracker Barrel. Stop playing. They took them to the Cracker Barrel.
Hey, but wait, let me finish. Wait, Raheem. They got a guy. They had some guys. They got some guys that work with us, and I could tell. I don't know whether they're supremacists, or racist, but they really feel like. And I'm saying to myself, man, look, you flagging a ride to work,
Wow.
and
Wow.
you borrowing from one guy to pay back the other guy that you borrowed from last week, and every Monday you broke. But I'm white.
Wow.
And that's what he said. But I'm white.
Let me ask you. Hey Pete, when you called in, Pete, did it ask for an access code?
No.
It didn't. Okay. I got someone saying that it's asking for Paul, when you called in. Hey Paul, when you called in, did it ask for an access code?
No, didn't ask.
Wrong number.
I got someone saying it's asking for an access code, and I know I got people on the phone line now. 508-924-3521. Yeah, we got people on the phone line now. They said it didn't ask for the access code. I don't know. Try again. Try it again. Paul, talk to me.
Okay. Well, I guess I just go on what Pete said earlier about there's nothing wrong with somebody having pride in their, ancestors. My ancestors are this or that, and all that kind of stuff. But the people go too far with it, and I see people of all races going too far with it. I see black supremacists, to be honest, on Twitter. And everything they sound exactly like KKK, exactly, except instead of saying
Paul,
white's the best, they say black is the best.
Paul,
so
Paul, you're getting ahead of me. I was going to talk about that part too. Later on I was going to transition and talk about that as well. Okay. But you're getting ahead of me now. You're getting ahead of me now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because I definitely want to have that conversation as well, because there's a group of people that's black supremacists, and I want to find out whether they are they racist, or do they look at themselves as being racist as well. But you putting the conversation, George. Oh Lord. Somebody called in with the phone line open. That's cool. That's good to have you. Good to have you. But go ahead, Paul. Tell me what's on your heart, brother. Talk to me.
All right. So all right, I'll save that for later then. Well, okay, so I guess I'll just talk about a couple other things then. Like the term white supremacy has a lot of different meanings, and one part where it gets real confusing with a lot of people is I can find evidence of white supremacy
Mm-hmm.
in practically every facet of American culture, right?
Wow.
Because it was the rule of the land for several hundred years.
Paul, do you know? Do,
Um,
do, do you understand the impact of what you just said? Say that one more time. I don't want people to miss it. Say that one more time. You can find the impact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could find evidence of white supremacy in every aspect of American culture, from media to, economics to education, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, when a lot of white people more on the conservative side get upset when they hear, well, that's white supremacy. Yeah, it probably is to some degree, but because that word has different meanings, people automatically go to KKK, Nazis, all this stuff. So, but I mean, the most obvious aspect or manifestation of white supremacy that I've seen in American culture is in the media.
Mm-hmm.
The way non-white people have been portrayed.
Yeah.
Disgusting, absolutely disgusting what the white people had done in the past. And even now, even to some degree now, look what these white owned rap companies are producing, and they're saying this is black people, and it's it's the most disgusting, obscene stuff ever. And you got young kids mimicking it. I'm talking to you, Sexy Red, people like that.
Yeah.
So that's white supremacy too. Just because it's not a white face. It could be somebody just displaying what white supremacists want us to see.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all over the place.
It's a lot of people sell out, brother. It's a lot of people that will sell out, and they will do that. Cookie, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, doing well, doing well. You been listening to the conversation?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. You're asking the question, what is the difference? What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? And because of the fact that a person is a supremacist, white supremacist in this case, does that necessarily mean that they're racist against everybody else because they love their people? Does it necessarily mean that they're racist? What do you say to that?
I say that the difference is execution. People who are generally racist, they execute their execute their racism via biases. We talk against people. They say ugly things about people. But supremacists, they execute theirs via violence, the threat of violence or the actual execution of violence. That's the difference. If you notice, groups who are openly racist as an official group, they advocate for violence. They will harm people. They will it doesn't matter. They harm children. They harm women. They'll harm anybody who's of the oppressed that they dislike. People who are simply racist are oftentimes biased. Not to say that they are less dangerous. Because a Karen is very dangerous. A Karen will weaponize the police, knowing that in calling the police on a person of color can end in that person being, prematurely wounded in some way or taken out in some way. So it's not to say that either is less dangerous, but it's the execution of it for me. They can seem to live with the idea that they didn't actually do a particular thing to a person. It was the police who did it on their behalf. But if we know our history, we know that the only reason that we have police is because they are a spinoff of the slave catchers. That was the first police force. The people who did, there's a wonderful movie called Buck and the Preacher, and it tells a story of a religious group of people of color who went through, to when they had the land, the free land, in the Western Territory, and these people, this group of slave traders, of police. They worked for the plantation owners, and their whole job was to make the people who were trying to get to the West afraid, know that people are looking for you, and to return to the plantation owners as many of their people as they could return. There's another movie called 12 Years a Slave, and in that story, it tells us about people who lived in the North, free people who had never been enslaved, who would be snatched.
Mhm.
Through all sorts of clandestine events. You're
Mhm.
snatched and beaten until you own the name of a different slave. And then they return you to a plantation as if to say you were that person that who ran away.
Mm.
It's the worst kind of swap in the history of this country. It's the worst
Mhm.
kind of swap. You beat someone into submission so they can own the name of someone else that you lost because you beat them and they ran away.
Mhm.
That would, for
Wow.
me, the difference is execution.
Mhm. So let me ask you the second part of the question. Do you think if a person is a supremacist, do you think they are or naturally or just because racist?
Of course, that is that's the prerequisite to be a
Mhm.
supremacist. One must be racist first.
Mhm. So because they love their own race, that means they hate everybody else.
I don't even think it's that.
Mhm.
Sometimes people hate their circumstance. For example,
Mhm.
if you live in a trailer and you struggled all your life to get ahead, and you don't seem to be able to get ahead, and you get a job, as, I don't know, the deputy to some crooked sheriff.
Mhm.
And when you go to the supermarket, you see a person who doesn't look like you in a nice suit driving a shiny car.
Mhm.
That envy that you have to go home, to a dirty place, to a hovel, and this person who doesn't look like you, how dare they live better than me?
Mhm.
So sometimes
But
it's not necessarily that you dislike everybody. You sometimes dislike your circumstance. And
mhm.
remember, we talked about people project. You project your misery of your circumstance onto people who are economically above you.
Okay.
It just so happens that they're also a different race than you.
Okay. But isn't jealousy, envy, and racism in different bowls? They're in different bowls. They're all on the table,
Um,
but they're in different bowls.
Listen, my opinion would be this: they can be in different train cars
Mhm.
along the same train route.
Mhm. Okay.
The same engine can pull all of them,
Mhm.
but they are
Mm.
definitely in many ways connected.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Tucson, talk to me. This is a good conversation this morning.
Yeah, I agree with her
Mhm.
because
No.
yeah. Oh, Cookie. By the way, I said that you might think that I'm a black supremacist. I don't talk behind people's back. I say what I say.
I'm sorry, say it again, please.
You might consider me to be a black supremacist. We're gonna
Why
move
would I
on.
do that?
Uh-oh. I think she
Why,
said,
why would I do that?
oh, see?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Listen, I told you about you. That's
Yeah,
what,
I know you read me. You read me. You read my
yes,
mail.
and you repented, so all is well. All is
Yes.
well in the
Okay.
world.
So thank you so much. You're so kind.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
but but Raheem, she is so correct.
Uh-huh.
That's why I say that some people hate rich folks
Mm-hmm.
because they're not rich.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes them envious of their situation. Ain't got nothing to do with the rich man. It's them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like them because they don't like their circumstances.
But is that
You mean
racism?
how? Well, it's hateful.
Yes, it is. Very, very. But is that
But
racism?
being hateful is not racist.
No, it's not.
It's just okay. And again, I've worked with some.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, how dare I pull up to work in a Mercedes
Mm-hmm.
and your truck barely running? You got to get a boost to leave your job. You
Mm-hmm.
had to get a boost to get there.
And gonna ask you and your Mercedes to get them a boost to get home.
And I will.
I know you will.
It's just a car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mhm.
I just like to, I want to ride to where I only live once.
Mhm.
So I do what I want to do,
Yeah.
you know. I'm not driving what I drive just to be like somebody else.
Mm-mm.
I'd like to get, I don't know what some people, but I'd like one day I might pull up to the Bentley place and get me one just because I only live once. That's how I live.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
But how dare I work at the same job with somebody that's making the same salary as I am,
Mhm.
have better things, and they're struggling.
Mhm.
I can't say everything, but there's some people that everybody live in their house.
Yeah.
The grandmother, the great grandmother, the uncle, the sister, the brother, everybody live together.
Mhm.
And they can't make it because they don't manage well, because you can't manage well with a lot of folks in your house.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
don't let nobody stay with me.
Mhm.
But there's circumstances that makes their circumstances bad, and it makes it hard for them to make it.
Mhm.
And they frustrated with not being able to get ahead,
Mhm.
and they mad with you.
Wow. Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Asking the question, what is the difference between a white supremacist and a racism? Are they the same? Do they walk hand in hand? Can a person be a white supremacist, love their people? Love their people, and there ain't nothing wrong with loving your people. There's nothing wrong with it. But does that necessarily mean that they're racist? Does that necessarily mean that they're racist? Mr. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, family.
Hey, good morning to you. Good to have you, brother. Asking the
That's a
question,
question.
what is the
Yeah.
difference? What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist?
Mm. If I can see a difference, is the white the white supremacist is he's sort of silent. He's sort of quiet. He's in his own corner in his own little group, doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
The racist is vocal. The racist is the person that expresses it. It will say it or do things outwardly. But
I'll let you know.
they're both the same thing, though.
Mm-hmm. Now, because a person is a white supremacist and love their people, love their own people, which is, like I said earlier, is not a bad thing. It's not a terrible thing to love your people. It's not bad at all. But does that necessarily mean because they love their people, does that mean that they're racist or hate everybody else?
Their love of their people is based on hate of others. And that's how I see it. I think that it's not really love for their people; it's hate for another group. It's binding ourselves together so we can get our weapons and go take what they got one of these days. That's how it works. Men fight other men for land and for booty, for their women.
Yeah. Truth. Okay. So you're saying that a white supremacist have no choice but to be put in the category of being racist?
Well, it's almost like this here. A supremacist, a white supremacist, is basically it's almost something that's dying. It's dying with new information and new unearthed histories that's been whitewashed and changed. So it don't have the full firm groundwork that it always stood in. Eventually, I can see it almost disappearing when people recognize in the bottom line that all this separation of us is part of a strategy to keep us weak. How can I say it? It's about jealousy. The whole Marxist approach to revolution is basically to draw a line oppressor and oppressed. And I think when you begin to break down and define things that way, that's even an attempt to get away from the racial conflicts about economics of things and saying, okay, it's us against them, the elites, against, but But I think it's something that's got a dying scope when more information is being revealed every day about history, the true history of this world and civilization.
Okay. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Asking the question this morning: what is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? Are they the same? Do they walk hand in hand? Can one be a supremacist, love their people? And when I say supremacist, I'm talking about white, black, whatever, love their people. But does that necessarily mean that they hate everybody else? Does that necessarily mean that they're racist against everybody else? Pete, talk to me, brother.
I like the clarification, and I like where the conversation is going now. White supremacy and being a racist. Basically, both of them are going to sum up to you being lacking in your personal development and living in some type of delusion, right? And if the earth was flat, I would personally hope you jump off this bad fuck with that mentality. What was it? Who was that was just talking? You said a real good point. It's like it's dying off. Hicks, it's dying off. And it appears to be waning real bad. I mean, like you say, the big main supremacists, the tiki torch boy, you will not replace us. Hey, y'all done already been replaced. Let's go sit down somewhere and be quiet. Who you got? Some dude living in a raggedy shack in Mississippi with no teeth in his mouth, who got to hunt for his food every day and he on food stamps. Somebody he's supreme in what? To who? Come on now. This ain't even making sense.
Wow.
And then got to bring his mixed grandchildren over to the house while he waving and loving his rebel flag, right? But he loved them mixed grandbabies. Make it make sense.
Wow.
Come on, man.
508-924-3521. And we're gonna switch up in a second. We're gonna switch this thing up because we talk about the white supremacists right now. Now we're gonna switch this thing up, talk about the black supremacists or Latino supremacists and all the other groups of people right here. Because of the fact that they're supremacists, because of the fact that they love their people. Does that necessarily mean that they're racist or that they have a dislike towards other groups of people? Tucson, talk to me, brother.
I was gonna put it in the chat, but I'm gonna put it out there. Christian supremacists.
Wow. Come on. There's a lot of them, brother.
A lot of them.
Mr. Tucson, my apologies.
Yes,
my humblest apologies. Before we switch, there's something that I would like to mention. With your permission, of course.
Go ahead, sis.
So I don't want to walk away from this subject without putting some things on the table. The first thing I want to put on the table is you can be a supremacist and you cannot love your own people. Because part of it in some cases is you only like the part of your people who are like you. That's the case with our former president. He doesn't like poor people who look like him. He doesn't like people who are uneducated, unrefined. Remember the things he even said about his running mates? He talked about his family. He called them Hicks. We have to be mindful that earlier we talked about how there's a train and all these things are on the train. The hate, the bias, you know what I'm saying, the jealousy, the envy, and the racism, you know what I'm saying? They all run together. They're equal contributors sometimes to the same behavior. You can see it in old movies where sometimes the people who are head of these consortiums or such, they talk down, you know, to their own people who look like them, the ones who are poor. So privilege and elitism have a whole lot to do with it as well. And in life, people punch down. When I don't have anything, you know, and I'm the alabaster color, I don't have anything. I still have my privilege. And my privilege says I can be broke living in a trailer park, but I can still dislike you and oppress the people who don't look like me. Because above all else, while my wallet is thin, you know, and my life is hard, I still have my privilege that comes with my skin color. So I can still hate. All of these things take a toll, and I do not think that it is a good idea to let just one narrative stand. There
Mhm.
has to be the other side. The
Mhm.
other side says, no, that it is not dying as a practice. It is evolving. Because now you have people in black robes, you know, executing their personal biases under the guise of justice. Now you have men in uniform executing justice on a street corner at a stop sign
Mhm.
based upon their biases. The hatred and the racism have transformed. That is why there are so many unalivings and things of people who look like us by people who wear badges.
Wow. Wow. Toussaint, go ahead, brother. I was on you, man. It was go ahead. Coming back to you. Got another caller. Caller, we're coming to you
Yeah,
next.
that's another point.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There's so many different levels on this thing.
And,
So,
and I'm gonna just be honest. There are some people that look like me that I don't care for
uh-oh.
because they give a bad impression.
Uh-oh. You like the Sergeant Soldier story. I'm looking at him over there playing that guitar. I look at it always. I don't like him.
Boy, you know how many problems we had in the church bringing a guitar and a drum.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there are some people that are a bad influence
Mm-hmm.
on a different type of people or the same type of people.
Mm-hmm.
They all they got to do is move in the neighborhood, and there go the neighborhood. Doggone it! Why you move next to me? Now the police. All of a sudden, the police showing up.
Yep. Police ain't never come through this neighborhood till you
They
move.
never been here, and time you move here with your shenanigans,
Mm-hmm.
here the cops come and they knocking at my door because all they got is a report as them black people are acting a fool down there.
Mm-hmm.
What you doing at my door?
Yeah. What you here for?
Well, they just said all they said was the black people. And by the way, sir, you're black. And let me tell you something else. There's somebody that can do the same crime as me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look like me,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll get a slap on the wrist, and
Come on.
I'll get life.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Is that supremacy? Or is that racism?
we call it privilege.
Mm.
They can be broke. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
they can't buy a bologna sandwich without their food stamps.
Good Lord.
And they, by the way, they got food stamps, but they deserve food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
We if we get food stamps, we just want something for nothing.
Yeah, we needy.
Oh, we don't. We want something for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the comment. You want something for nothing, y'all folks. Y'all.
Mm.
Who is y'all?
Yeah.
When they are doing the same thing, but they get the same thing. They get this government assistance because they deserve it. By the way, we run this country. We run this country. And matter of fact, we're gonna make America great again. Again. I'm confused.
Yeah.
I've been here for a while. Mr. Hicks been here longer than I am. And we together, we can put both our years together, and I've never seen America great.
Mm.
But that's what the supremacists say.
Now, how you gonna say this great country of America? How you gonna say the great country of America ain't great? Ain't the greatest country in the world. Ain't no country better. Ain't no country better than America. And you know it ain't. So I don't know how you gonna get on here and talk like you're talking right now. Talking about America ain't great. The shame. Do you have any shame at all?
If you say too much, Raheem, they're gonna shut you down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me go to Kurt.
What
Kurt.
we have to remember, though, is that one of the greatest lies ever told is that America is a shining city on the hill. What the hill does is obscure the view. The hill, it obscures the view so you can't see that the buildings are all rusty. You can't see that the people are all morally dirty and immoral. You can't see that the fabric of America, the fabric that covers us, is filthy itself. Look at other countries. You can look at places like Japan. You can look at places like in Europe. They have high-speed trains that can take you from country to country in a matter of hours. Widespread mass transportation is available to all sorts of people. Think the cities are cleaner. The food is more organic. We're not the shining city on the hill. We have to remember our history. Our history says that this country was founded by murderers, rapists, and thieves. Remember, England emptied out its prisons
Mm-hmm.
and sent them over here. You
Mhm.
think those people changed their nature? No, they had the freedom to start a new country that is headed by murderers,
Mhm.
rapists, and thieves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
That's why they stole people,
Mhm.
because not only were they criminal, they were also lazy. We're not going to do any work. We're going to go steal some people and get them to do our work for us. And when the country passed a law that said you could no longer travel intercontinentally to steal bodies, then they weaponized the wombs of the black women and
Mhm.
decided that you not only, in Europe, the rule has always been and will always remain that whatever your nationality is, it is based upon the person who fathered you. But in America, they decided to institute a new policy. Your ethnicity travels with the mother.
Mm.
The reason that that is important is because it allows you to keep the babies that are fathered by the owners in slavery, and it allows you to keep them from having access to a rightful inheritance of the person who fathered them, but also happens to own them. This is not the shining city on the hill. This is a hot chicken fried mess.
Mm. Hot chicken fried mess. God
Chicken.
almighty. Hot chicken fried mess. Let me
You
go.
know, black folks
So
like
that
chicken.
sister that we all love her this morning. I don't mean to cut in, but have we made it clear that whoever that is, we love you?
Yes,
That's
indeed.
That's
Thank you
Miss Cookie.
kindly.
That's Miss Cookie right there. That's Miss Cookie. That's who that is. But let me see. We got a few people that's on the phone line. I got to get to them as well. But I hadn't touched on Badger in a minute. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
So I was thinking about some of the things that were getting said, and I'm very much like coming from where like Cookie's coming from. It's really easy to know a racist or an ignorant human being with the way their mannerisms and behaviors and stuff are. The supremacist likes to hide. They do things like
In some
so
instances, sometimes they want to be in the forefront. They want to be out there, the loudest. But go ahead.
well, I mean, yeah, we definitely deal with some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But think about how the laws have been created for our country, right?
Mm-hmm.
They introduced that money is more important than a human life.
Mm-hmm.
Let that sink in for a sec. Money is more important than a human life.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that, Cookie's right.
Yeah.
You know, I was treated slightly better before my accident that got me into where I'm collecting disability.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I don't get verbally abused as much as other people that are close to my age that, are that's had similar things happen to them
Mm-hmm.
is I volunteer my time
Yeah.
all the time. I'm a volunteer at a museum. I'm a volunteer for a nonprofit. I'm dealing with politicians and all that stuff. And they're like, well, at least you're doing something. So that kind of makes it okay.
Wow.
The sum.
Wow.
So when you look at media and you see media push how I guess now they call it a neurological disorder. But for the most part, the terminology when I was a kid was mentally retarded, how
Mm-hmm.
they were a detriment to society. Um, Pretty much anyone that wasn't a military person, it was a detriment and should be just taken out
Mm.
because it's dampening the gene pool.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of thoughts and narratives and things like that. That to me is the supremacy part.
Okay. Wow.
So can our races show supremacy traits? Absolutely. It is very possible for that.
Okay.
However, a lot of times a racist, it don't matter which racist group they belong to, if they are of a race and they hate and will kill and everything else to another race, they're a racist to me.
Okay, good deal.
Oh,
508.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. What is the difference? What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? Is there any differences? Because a person love their own race, does that necessarily mean that they're racist? Curtis, good morning, sir. Cassandra coming to you next. Curtis, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
What's your question, Big Dog?
What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? And because of the fact that a person loves their own race, does that necessarily mean that they are racist?
Okay. What's the difference?
Yes.
To be honest, brother, there is no difference. The two coincide with each other. One is a tool that's used. One is a tool that's used by the other to support an ideology, to support a way of life, to support actions that they feel need to be taken, or actions that have been taken. One coincides with the other. Thank you. One coincides with the other.
So there's no difference.
You can't have one without the other.
So you say, so what I'm hearing you say is this. So you're saying that a person can't be a supremacist, a white supremacist, or even a black supremacist, Latino supremacist, whatever it is, and because of the fact that they love their people, that always mean that they hate everybody else, because a racist is somebody that hate everybody, that hate people based on the color of their skin and different things of that nature. Now, a supremacist is one that loves his or her people. Does that necessarily mean that he or she hate everybody else? Curtis?
Oh, my fault. I had hit the mute button.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to beg to differ with you on that one, brother.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Make your point.
What is the definition of supremacy?
One that think in a nutshell, one that thinks very highly of his own kind, one that looks like him, one that thinks very highly of them. But even with that definition, that does not say, because I looked it up last night, because I passed it over to my wife before we spoke about it today, and we looked up definitions. None of the definitions that we saw said that they hate everybody else. They say they have a real high regard for themselves and people that look like them.
No, right? It's funny, that man named Webster. Funny, his name is Webster.
Yeah.
Supremacy is the ideology of one taking power or forcing power over one who is thought to be inferior. Now, see, it's funny how you done had all these so-called folk want to get with these so-called folk down there in Texas and throw out all these books, these so-called woke books, and have them change the school curriculums and the dictionaries and all that foolishness, because they're trying to cover up what has been known to us for years. A white supremacist ain't got nothing to do with the perfection. Supremacy has nothing to do with the perfection of its people. It has everything to do with holding your foot over the neck of those you feel who are inferior.
And but like you said, we're not going to agree on that part, but go ahead.
Okay, we don't have to agree. I'll tell you what, do me a favor. Look at a Webster's dictionary that dates back 20 years ago. And then see what the definition is. Or look past the first definition in the dictionary that you have right now. Look past that first definition. Because see, that's a trick that they've been doing for a while. They love to they love to point you where they want you to go. So you see it, you won't read the rest of the definitions. It's just like you remember, look up black in the dictionary.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Good deal. Stay right there. Let me go.
Right.
let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Okay, thank you.
You doing okay?
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? What is the difference? And because of the fact that one loved their own people.
None.
I'm sorry?
No, that's not. No, I know. I mean, after you said that, I went back and I was like, wait a minute, they're the same thing. They both believe that they should be in control because other races are inferior or not as intelligent as them. So I'm trying to figure, where did you get your definition? Because I want to read that.
So
they basically are the same people. Now, if you're talking white nationalists or something, that may be something slightly different. But white supremacists and racists, those two people have the same ideology, same thought pattern. Everyone else, other races are inferior to them because they're not as intelligent. They just don't match up to them. So they should be in control because they are the more intelligent, the more whatever race. That's what both of those words mean.
So
those terms. So I'm interested in seeing where yours came from. That it's about them being proud of who they are. Because if that's all it is, hey, go for it. We should all be proud of who
that's
our
what
people are.
And that's exactly what I was about
but not to the point. White supremacists and racists believe that they are superior to other races.
So basically what I'm hearing you say,
I'm just talking definitions.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, hold on. Everybody hold on for a second. So what I'm hearing you say is they walk hand in hand. There is no difference at all in the two.
They pretty much are walking hand in hand. Raheem, this is my area. Now, this is my area.
I know.
I have done advocacy and activism for almost 40 years. NAACP, SCLC, and any group that stands for justice and equality, I've done it for almost 40 years. No, sir. Those two groups walk hand in hand. Hand in hand.
I see it.
So,
I see it a little different. Like I said, I'm not here like I see it all the time. I'm not here to
we all have, we all have a right. We believe in that on this show.
Exactly.
Everyone has a right to believe. I'm just telling what the definitions are that I read, because I went back. I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. And I went and looked at it while we were talking. I'm like, Kurt, I'm gonna look it up. And they walk hand in hand.
Wow. Okay. Cookie, you was about to say something.
You may be reading a different definition or something.
Yeah, well, maybe that might be the case. But Cookie, you were saying something just now, Cookie. What's on your heart?
Yes, I said I pulled up the definition separately. If it would help the conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
So remember earlier, I said that to me the difference is execution.
Yes.
Because racism is a belief. And supremacy has to do with action and violence. So in Webster, it says that racism is prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, a community, or institution against a person or a people on the basis of their membership in a particular ethnic group.
Okay.
It also says for supremacy, it says that supremacy is the state or condition of being superior to all others, and to have authority, power, or status.
Okay. So with you reading those definitions, what did you pull from that? Are they the same, or are they slightly different? Or there's some differences?
I think that it's they, as we said before, they ride on the same train.
Mm-hmm.
Different train cars, same engine.
Mm-hmm.
They go hand in hand together, because you must have a measure of racism in order to be a supremacist. But let me see if I could give us a little more insight. What makes this confusing is if you know English. According to English, racist is the word race plus a suffix. The suffix is ist. Ist as a suffix says that is a dedication to or proficiency in. As if someone who studies a piano, you become a pianist, someone proficient in the use of a piano. Racist, by definition, should mean someone who is superiorly knowledgeable about themselves and their own race. But here again, we're expecting a country that is dishonorable to live by its own code. So you have two definitions of the same word. Two definitions of the same word in the same place.
Wow. Okay.
Racist can mean someone who elevates their race and is knowledgeable about their own history and heritage. But it can also mean, someone who is biased against a particular minority.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Mr. Hicks, talk. Mr. Hicks, hold on, Kurt. I gotta be fair to everybody. Hold on. Don't go nowhere though. Don't go nowhere. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart?
As I was listening, it came to me in sort of sense that what makes a person a supremacist is like I've been doing a recent study on Israeli and conflict in Palestine. I had a general knowledge, but the last couple months I'm deeply I understand a whole lot better. Is that how when a person believes that they're God's chosen people, or a person believe that, like the white supremacists believe that they are supreme because God made them supreme. They're superior not because of anything other than that God said so. So it's rooted it's rooted. So even though you don't want to think of it that way, it's rooted in a spiritual kind of thing. It crosses over to the spiritual because, how can I say this? When the Jews came out of Germany and came to the land there in Palestine, they had a psychology and a belief system, and it's almost like how the abuser become the abused, because they suffered so much under that regime in that period of history, that inside their psychic mind they had detached themselves from their belief in God. The Zionists are not Jews, not Hebrews, not Jews. They don't read the Torah. They got a whole bunch of series of other different things, and they have things that say that it's okay to have a child. You can have sex with children. You can have sex with. They got all these rules around things because they're superior. And the Gola is how they killing people now in Palestine is rooted in their psychology. They want to destroy them, and that's what in history, wherever you go back in history, people had these strong beliefs that God had commanded them to go do this thing. They became the most violent people and destroyed women, children, kids, and everything. So
wow.
so it sort of hit to a thing that Toussaint blinked on for a minute there. He said Christian superiority. Just a belief that God called you to do a thing a certain way, and anybody else that doesn't do it that way, they're the enemy.
Wow.
ISIS. I mean, I request for. It'd be good for everybody because it's all over the YouTube now. Go do some studying about what's happening in Palestine.
Yeah.
Go look at that thing. Look at it real clearly. They've been in prison for all those years in the open air prison. I mean, we talk about our suffering that we had. Man, they got it going on right here in 2024.
Exactly.
And the politics around us not screaming about it. They want to cancel anybody who want to voice opinion about the humanity of it all. But it comes all the way around to a spiritual thing now, inside your own life, your own personal kind of thing, because you got to have a balance, keep your equilibrium, because everything they're doing is designed to keep us in fear and confusion. And if you don't have a line to the source that's your creator, how you worship your God, how you worship this created thing that is, and it's about really being open-minded and caring and loving. You know, even when you think about this country and all the bad, and it is. I mean, that thing that sister said, Cookie, yeah, she's all over it, and I've been there, studied it, and lived in that whole concept. But when I began to study what happens when this experiment in America is breaking away from the papal rule of popes and the kings and the queens of Europe, and when the people that came here that they call criminal, you was a criminal if you spoke against the king. You was a criminal if you didn't want to go to the Catholic Church. So they were criminals, but they was under that law system that made them criminals. In fact, the first pilgrims who came to this country really set the Native American up for destruction because they were good people. They were people who came here to worship.
Wow.
And they saw that spirit inside them and said, oh, these are good people. But that wasn't the people that came later.
Yeah. They sent the devils later, huh?
Yeah.
508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Cassandra, I think you wanted to say something. We got Toya with a T. We're gonna go to her next. Cassandra, what was on your heart?
I don't know. No. I just, you can pass me.
Come on, Cassandra.
Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on. And the thug pastor done sit down. What's really going on around here? Can't even say what you want to say. Say what you want to say. But if you want me to pay, I will, Cassandra. What you want me to do? Talk to me. Huh? Okay. Toya with a T. Toya with a T. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Well, good morning. How y'all doing?
Man, look here. Today's the 4th day of the year. We done had 4 topics, man, already. I don't know what's gonna be like when we get into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th month. I don't know what we're gonna be. Because I'm gonna tell you something.
Just all over the place.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Hop on this here. Your Jew joint. You can do what you want to.
Look at you told Harpo to beat me. but Toya, whites, what is the difference? And I want to hear your heart on this. What is the difference between a white supremacist and a racist? Are there any differences? Or are they wrong? Is a person that loves themselves, are they wrong for loving themselves? And does that necessarily mean, too, that they hate everybody else?
I don't think there's a difference between a racist and a white supremacist. I think they're the same. I think the only thing that would differentiate them is the color, because I know some black people who are racist as hell, too. My bad. So yeah, no, I don't think there's a difference between the two, right? There's nothing wrong. This is what we get charged for. As soon as we say black is beautiful, black power, honey, they get to hitting the damn panic button, get to running all over the place, honey, because they know they got something. They know they got a sea splitting that's supposed to be coming and wash them out, but we ain't got to do nothing. That's going to be the Lord. But at the end of the day, whenever we say black power, black product, black beauty, anything black, we get nervous. Nervous. But yet there's a precedent set across this whole United States with a precedent of white KKK superiority that's superior enough to kill. Thousands of textbooks, thousands of information, situations, actions, truths from white power. But you get nervous when we say black power. I don't understand it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me loving myself. There's nothing wrong with me loving my people. There's nothing wrong with me loving my people and feel like we're superior according to the Bible and other scientific discoveries. It's truth in the superiority of blackness that the science breaks down. So I can do all that, all if I want to. But when you start crossing that into hatred, you're crossing outside of God's lines then. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about the people that was created by God. They were brown. They came out brown. And our spirit is created to operate like God's spirit. So once you start crossing over into hate, once you start saying what nobody's not a part of, once you start downplaying somebody, that's not what God said.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you start disliking, that same thing, men and women, right? You could, I hate men, right? You could be a guy who hate women and feel like they're property, right? All of that, you stepping out of the lines of good now. So it really doesn't matter what you think about you and your people. It's really irrelevant how you try to uplift them if you're going to turn around and go back and be wicked with it. You're not going to get the picture you were trying to paint. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, once you start adding hate to any love, it changes things.
Mm-hmm. Wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Asking the question, what is the difference, or are there any differences between white supremacy and racism? And because of a person love themselves, does that mean that they're racist because they love their people? Does that mean that? Tucson, talk to me. Caller, we coming to you next.
Oh boy, I just had a wild thought. Cassandra, I was just thinking about it. And when we all find out, or when we all discover, I tell you what, if we ever figure out, if we ever get that Jesus we worship, and we find out who this guy really is, and I don't mean no disrespect, but even his background, the core of who he was. Some people gonna say the heck with Christianity. Because I'd rather be white and go to hell. And I just had that thought. Let me back away from that. I thought about the press for the way the Jews would do. They would go around Samaria rather than go through Samaria because they didn't like mixed breed people.
Wow.
We take the media, the ones that are behind the scene pushing this narrative of this pagan country that we live in, the United States of America, the most pagan country in the world. That's just me.
Okay.
We have turned against God and don't even know it, and we think we got privileges. We rule. We police the whole world.
Yes.
And we want the whole world to live by our standards.
Come on.
I say our, and I'm not even an American citizen. Ask them. They'll tell you that I never was and never will be. Really?
Yeah.
Or some people that think, just because you pay your taxes and you live in a nice neighborhood that you are an American citizen. Go 5 miles above the speed limit and see.
Yeah.
They're going to drag you out of that car like a dog. Shoot you down just because they can. You know why? Because they live in a unpleasant neighborhood. When they really take off their badge and they take off that uniform, they have to go home to misery. And they see you at a stop sign in your fine vehicle. Or they follow you to where you really live, and you live in a gated community. Before you get to the gate, they stop you and pull you over. And they beat you down like you stole something.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
You know why? Because they're supreme. They feel like it.
Yeah.
You should. How dare you? If they could ever put their hands on Mr. Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey, they'll drag them, tie them to a old pickup truck with a big buckle and cowboy boots. Big hat.
Come on.
And torn tootin'. I sent you y'all a video of this guy saying, sticking his foot in the fire. And he said, "Don't hurt, roll tide."
Wow.
You know, you got some good old cowboys that think they supreme.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Dallas Cowboys, which I am talking about Dallas Cowboys too. That's another story. But I ain't gonna say
that. 508, and I'm gonna pick at you later, man, because the lady named not Oprah Winfrey, and named Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, I
listen to every word, man. I listen to every word.
Yeah, I know you do. I can't talk. I'm from Louisiana. I can say I'm from Louisiana, so we can't talk anyway.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I listen to every word real closely. Go ahead, Badger. What's on your heart, brother?
You know, I posted something in our chat.
If
you look at history and things like that, racism doesn't cause genocide. Supremacy does. Well, because supremacy isn't just race related, it can be religion related, it can be belief related, and things of that nature, where a group believes that they are more superior than another. And when you get into, you know, calling other groups pagan and evil and everything else, that's a really fine line, because that's what they use to do genocide.
Why do you think that was done?
Land, power, all the typical things that comes with people that follow the ideology of supremacy. They are greater because they have bigger, better weapons.
So supremacy is a terrible thing.
In my eyes, yeah.
Okay.
It's the fastest way to turn your back to God.
Okay. Good deal. Excuse me. Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. Asking a question, Ryan. What is the difference, or are there any differences? Excuse me. Between white supremacy and racism, and as a person, because of the fact that they may love themselves or love their people, does that necessarily mean that they hate everybody else? What do you say to that, Ryan?
So, this question has brought to my mind a conversation that was held by the amazing artist KRS-One. Everybody on here probably knows who that is.
Oh yeah.
And he held a conference about that exact topic.
Wow.
And he said that all of us would be blessed to have a white supremacist as a friend. And everybody gave him the cross eye, like, what? What did you say?
Yeah.
And he said, you guys don't understand your words. You use the wrong terminology for things. And he broke it down like this, and I'll try and keep it as short as I can. He said, I've had white supremacist friends in my life, my whole life. He said, those are people who are supremes, who love people, period. Doesn't matter what you look like. He said, that's the person where you see a black mother in the store with a child that's acting a fool, and he just pop around the corner like, you should respect and love your mother a little better. Or that guy who grabs your coat while you walk into a field about to step on a snake that's going to bite you and saves you. He said, that's a little different. A supreme being loves entirely. Racism is an ugly thing. And it made me think, like, super hard, because it's never in my life have I heard it broken down in such a way. And he wasn't just specifically talking about white supremacists, just supremacist period of any race, color, or creed. And it was an absolutely mind-bending experience to hear him speak on that in that conference in that way. And it opened my eyes up to some things, like just the terminology that we use and the words that we use, how important that they are to use them in the correct notation, I guess, would be the word, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. Curtis, do you agree with that? What are your thoughts on that? And I know you love Chaos One. Curtis, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. I had to hit the mute button.
Okay, talk to me.
I hear what my brother is saying. And to a degree, I do agree, but I don't agree with the assessment, right? Because a supreme being moves with love. When you add the word white, black, Jewish, European, when you add a word in front of that, what you create is a fascist. A supreme being is God. God is love. That is a supreme being. That is a supreme spirit. All right? But when you add a noun, pronoun, or verb in front of that word, you now change the meaning. Because you make that supreme being belong to a particular group, culture, or set. We all know God belongs to all of us. All right. Miss Cookie was on point, man. Like when you really interpret what's going on, racism is a tool that is used. It is an action that is used to justify supremacist behavior. It is just one of the many tools. Last night I did some studying myself because I was writing some proposals last night for some shows that I want to do. And I found a new word that I did not know. I found a new phrase that I did not know existed and did not know the meaning of. It's the phrase was an operative racist. You ever heard that terminology before?
No. What does it mean?
It means belief, attitudes, and actions that allow racism to exist without openly supporting it. The conscious and unconscious maintenance of attitudes and beliefs. So, don't we kind of see that right now? We just saw it in Miss South Carolina when she was asked a simple question. Asked a very simple question. And she gave all these answers that said nothing about race.
That made no sense at all.
That made no sense at all.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah.
But that is the world for which we exist. A bunch of people who operatively are setting in positions of power who are operatively being racist.
Wow. Good deal. Good deal.
That's what.
Finish your thought, brother. Finish your thought.
That's where you get such terms as welfare queen, baby daddy, inmate. That's why they're being used. They're dog whistles of operative racists who can't say it publicly, but can give you code to let you know who they are.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Cookie, talk to me, sis. Cassandra coming to you next. And Toy you with a T.
I'm in agreement. Remember, I in my explanation, I said that I think that racism, by definition, talks about the attitude, and supremacy more so talks about the execution. But supremacy also talks about genetics. It states somewhere, I think, that there's a belief of being genetically superior. Here's the angle I want to come from. Imagine the irony, the irony of you have a religion and you send forth missionaries to promote this religion in foreign lands. And in this religion, the people read the book and learn the book better than you know it. And by them reading the book, they discover, you know what I'm saying, that the primary antagonist in the book happens to look like people who don't look like you. Imagine the irony. Also, imagine the irony when you talk about yourself as if you are superior, but then genetically, science says you cannot possibly be superior. Because in order for you to exist, there must have been a brown woman somewhere that gave birth to some of y'all. It's the irony for me. In plain sight, people are telling lies and writing their own history in plain sight. And some of us who don't know or who have not delved into it enough, we fall for the okie doke. But I think that there was a scientist named Dr. Mendel, and he says that dark is dominant and light is recessive. The example that they use is as eyes. They said that two blue-eyed people can never create a brown-eyed person. But a brown-eyed person and a blue-eyed person can create another brown-eyed person. It also says that two brown-eyed people can create a blue-eyed person because dark is dominant and light is recessive. This means that in order for there to even be a group of people who consider themselves to be pale and supreme, in order for them to even exist, you had to come from a Black woman. It's the irony of life for me.
Wow. 508-924-3521. We got about 45 more minutes before we get out of here. Cassandra, talk to me. We're talking about white supremacists, but there's such thing as a Black supremacist as well. And can a Black supremacist be racist? Cassandra?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I guess anybody can be a supremacist if they choose to. I guess. You know, when you feel like you're superior to somebody because of whether it's Black or white.
Let me ask you a question.
I thought we're talking about white. But go ahead.
Let me ask you this question, Cassandra. With your background, with you growing up in Chucktown, for people that don't know, that's Charleston. How rampant? Because I know some of the experience that you've told us about on the broadcast, but how rampant was racism in Charleston when you were there?
When it's still rampant. There is still a spirit over Charleston that is still that mentality, that white supremacist mentality, that racist mentality, because it is basically owned and run particularly by whites. And to me, and I grew up there, I left there at 36, 37. You, as a Black person, there is a ceiling to anything you want to do. You will never get certain things in Charleston. You will never live in certain areas. I don't care how much money you got. I think now there may be one Black person that has a house on the Battery. Which is where the Civil War shots were shot off. I've had a lot of racial things to happen in Charleston, and that's because of who I am and what I stood for. You know, I've told the story of how a group of white supremacists threatened me because an interracial couple moved into the neighborhood. They didn't like it, so they went after the couple, and I had NAACP to come and address them, and so I became a target. I had a white man to stand at my door and called me a nigger B and pointed a shotgun at me and told me if I didn't get out the neighborhood, he'd kill me. I had a white man to pull his penis out over the same incident and told me, black B, suck this. So for me, it's not play. See, I've walked in it. I've walked among racists and white supremacists. Even here in Atlanta, a few years ago, there was a march on City Hall, on the state capitol on a Saturday. They were smart enough to do it on a Saturday. On a Saturday, by neo-Nazis, Ku Klux Klan, and several other white supremacist groups, and a group of us from NAACP, SCLC, the Jewish League, people that did not want to see that happening or taking place. Man, listen, I love it when if you ain't never walked this thing, your view of it to me is it's good that you know all of these things, and intellectual people. I love it. Scholarly people, keep on studying. But it's something about those of us that are boots on the ground that y'all will never get until you have been in those situations. You won't get it. I promise you won't get it. Unless you've ever had a white person to call you a nigger to your face, have tried to kill you, you really don't get it. You have a concept of it, but you have no idea.
Do you think that's a part? Do you think that's a part or a piece of it? The misunderstanding of it all, or the not being able to grasp?
I really do. Listen, some of us old heads, as the kids call it, because I remember we were marching for George Floyd, and a bunch of the protesters, they wanted to do damage to buildings and stuff like that, and it was me and a couple of other what they call old heads that told them, no, that's not what we're here for. We're not doing that. We're not representing the Floyd family like that. And they were ready to go, full in. They had started jumping on top of police cars, and that was not going to work. That was going to be real ugly. So an old head like me, who ain't scared to stand up and die for what I believe, stood up and said, no, we ain't doing it like that. Did they like it? One young man told me, see, y'all old heads, y'all don't know. You can't do it like that anymore. It's not about being peaceful. It's about tearing up something. Let them know you mean business. That didn't mean that. That don't prove nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm just saying. I've been there. Boots on the ground, still on the ground right now. So I love it that people have this intellectual knowledge about these things, but it's those of us that have actually been through it. We walked through it. We saw the civil rights movement. We marched during those times.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, it don't make us anybody special, but when you've experienced something, it's a whole lot different when you're just talking about it. It really is.
I'm gonna ask you one more thing, Cassandra. I'm gonna go to Toya with a T, because we got Toya with a T on the screen this morning, so we definitely got to talk to Toya with. Look at her. But Cassandra, do you think a lot of the young people think that the way that was done back in the day with the march and the different things like that, do you think that they think that way is ineffective today?
Yes, they do. And because I speak to them and I've talked to them. That's like from groups like Black Lives Matters and other groups. They really believe that the way that we did it, to a large degree, was not effective enough, because we wasn't busting heads. We wasn't tearing up the community that we lived in. Though, a lot of young people, I've talked to them.
Wow.
I've talked to leaders of many of these groups. Yes, that's what they believe. They believe that peaceful protest is not effective.
Wow. Toya with a T, I saw you over there, sis. What do you feel? Do you feel that same way?
Hey, I'm with all that. I'm a God that sent you out to get them. I'm with a God that send you out to get them. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? You doggone right. So wait. The last time he told his people to go get people was in the Old Testament? No. Now, I did have that conversation for a long time. I felt that way too. The people before me, you dropped the ball. You should have been out there scrapping when Martin got killed, when Malcolm got killed, when JFK got killed. You should have been out there scrapping, turning up, whatever. I mean, listen, you're knocking us off anyway. Let me give me a reason. What? We should have told, when I tell you, we should have went and got the Indians and told America up.
Let me ask you this question, Toya, and I'm being a question asker right now. So, but come handle the question. I want you to handle the question, okay?
Yeah.
During the time that they were in, during that time, would it have been effective? The approach that you're saying that they should have taken back then, would it have been effective? Because they didn't have the quote unquote weaponry or different things that they needed to fight back at that particular time. So, would that have been effective, or would it have just been a mass murder?
5 rocks and slingshot wasn't effective. We don't believe those stories, huh? We can't. We can't believe walking around just walls Jericho and they falling in. That's the case. I mean, I'm just saying. It's not about that. When you with God, listen, the movie 300 was about what you remember Gideon in the army and it was 30,000 and they were scared. And then, okay, then so that's what I need right there. That's what I'm with. Just being a woman, just being raised by my father to protect myself. I'm not saying I can beat all men, but I've beat up a couple to save my life.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not the norm, absolutely. But at the end of the day, when God tells you to do something, there is no losing. And I cannot believe that God allowed that 40-year period to go by and he did not tell us to fight. They killing us anyway. It's mass murder anyway. So what is the problem? What you scared of? They come and dragging you out your house for no apparent reason. You rather go dragging, kicking, and screaming than to stand up and fight and die. Me, I'm fighting the kids, fighting the dog, fighting the bird, I'm even finna get a roaches a couple of guns because y'all up in here too. So yeah, I believe at the end of the day, they got us on that one. And that's cool. You got that. But this one going now forward, it'll never happen again. And I'm with all that. You will never be able to do that to us again. You will never be able to drag us out of houses, murder us, kill us, and cut babies out of our stomach like that again, because we on the verge. We're not people.
Just listening to what you said in the descriptions that you're giving, it just come across to me as so not what you're saying, but the act that was done to us during that time is so brutal. It's so brutal, man. They
were brutal. That's why I don't have no problem saying, yes, sir, master boss, I'ma come, chomp, and they're gonna come after us anyway. There's ways around this, but again, if you don't know who your creator is, if you don't know how powerful and mighty that whole little spell of that of them ruling over us, that was the devil. That wasn't God. And we didn't listen when he told us to go fight. We know, Lord, they got guns. We're scared. No, think about David. Think about all of the tons of stories. Listen, people still get hung up over the one story where God told him, he said, go kill them all. Everything in the place because they're wicked. But you so busy trying to outthink God, be a Christian. He said they're coming up to your door. Get your gun, teach your kid how to shoot. You know the time it is. And you said, but no, Lord, the white folks said that I need to be good. But if you read that Bible, but you couldn't read, you ain't have to read. Harriet Tubman couldn't read. If you zoom in with the spirit of the Lord, ain't no way, Raheem. I'm a female. I'm the weaker vessel. He did not build me to be weak. He did not build me to not fight back. He did not build me to sit there and just get slain and I know what you're doing to me and my people. No, war is going down and I'm going to single-handedly take as many out as I can. And if we all did that, we would be in a better situation today. Just saying, God don't raise no punk.
Good deal. And what people don't realize, understand, from what I studied, I could have studied something wrong. But Harriet Tubman was only like 4'11". She wasn't no big woman. She was a small little woman, 4'11". 4'11". Boy, she was a stick of dynamite. Curtis, talk to me. Find that mute button. It's right there, brother. It's right there.
Okay. I got
to the left.
What do you say, Curtis? The way of protesting that was done back in the day, would it be effective? Is it effective today, or do the young people really think that that's ineffective? And should it be more of should it be more aggressive? I say it in that way.
It's a part of the effectiveness of the overall picture. Okay, this is just my opinion, right? If you look throughout history, you'll find that protest and revolt has always had many different facets to its own success.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And most of the time when it fails because it does not have those many pieces to the puzzle of protest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when one cannot or does not know the pieces to that process or to that puzzle, your protest will fail.
Mm.
That is proven throughout the kernels of history, irregardless to wherever you are.
Mm.
When you look at the study of civilizations around the world, Germany was only able to become what it became as a result of protests that started, for example, with marches, speeches. And eventually it led to slaughter. Let's just keep it honest.
Mm-hmm.
Russia, the same way. France, the same way. Rome, the same way. America, the same way.
Mm-hmm.
South America, the same way. Israel, the same way. You look throughout history. I think Brother Malcolm said it best. Brother Malcolm made a speech, and he said that there is no such thing as a non-violent revolution.
Mm.
Revolution throughout years have been bloody. They will always be bloody because that is a part of the overall process of accomplishment of revolution and or revolt.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
people can't stay at home on the couch no more.
Wow. Okay. Let's go to Cookie. Hold on. I said I was gonna go to Toussaint next. Toussaint, then we're going to Cookie. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? What do you think about what we're talking about right now? We transitioned to a somewhat of a different conversation while keeping it the same. But protest is the way that the protest back in the day with the marching and the sit-ins and things of that nature, man. Would they be effective today? Would they in this day and time, would they be effective, or should it be like the young folks say? Let's go out there and tear something up. We got to tear something up to let them know that we quote unquote that we're serious about what we're talking about. Which one makes more sense?
Somebody got to live to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
You can't win a war with a nuclear bomb. You're gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that I would almost say if you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to fight now, but you got to pick your fights. You can't just go out there half hesitant because I can't say that word, but because there are some people that they have camps that they train. They are training for race war in case you want one.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not using how we do in the movies. Shoot your gun on the side with it on the side.
Yeah, sideway.
And you just amazed because you got a gun with a long clip in it, and with no actual military type training, training with military weapons, funded military weapons, funded by the government.
Yeah.
I might say something that I might be wrong, but I ain't stupid now. Because there are politicians, judges, people of high esteem that are making an effort to, just in case you want to have a hood fight, you're not going to be prepared for it. And this been going on for a while. I might not be too bright, but I tell you, man, I look at these chemical warfares that we are already in, that they put something, because we like to get high. I say we, but people like to get high, and they put something out there that they'll just bump you off. They'll put a vaccine out there. Just because in the war, this is part of the war of supremacy. It's all part of the big idea that we're gonna help scripture be fulfilled. Because there's some people that are riding on this Christianity, that are manipulating the whole game, and you think we just shouting in the name of the Lord. You keep on shouting and speaking in tongue and cutting up and this and all that and the other, while they are antagonizing you. They ripping you apart with joy, with the peace of God that passes all understanding, because you don't understand, because you don't know what you're talking about.
Now
they throw an idea out there and make you believe it. They put it there, and then here you are. Oh, bless God! Ah, God, I'm just blessed and highly favored. You go read it. You go right ahead. It's a war, and it's a spiritual war. And these weapons are not carnal.
Wow,
that's the big deal. So man, no. You can't. How in the world you gonna just everybody just be sacrificed? What we gonna have left? Well, I'm just saying somebody got to have some sense, because I bet you some of them got some sense. They're just not going out there half-heartedly.
Exactly. Cookie, what's on your heart? Mr. Hicks, coming to you next.
Listen. So let me see if I can say this really, really fast. I am a believer that everything must evolve. It is a privilege to be the beneficiary of the efforts and the marching of all the people who came before us. Everybody contributes to the cause in their own way. I'm a voter advocate. I've walked and marched in marches and knocked on doors and registered people and made some changes that I'm proud of. But what's most important? What's most important is we have to find a way to stop pointing the finger and to come together, because the enemy is coming. And the enemy is all of our enemy. In Georgia, they're building something called Cop City. I don't hear about it on the national news. It should be, because Cop City is the biggest training platform in this country for people in uniform. It was not funded by anybody in Atlanta. It was funded by Israel, Saudi Arabia, and some other countries. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe that it is 344 acres. It has a heliport. It has a drone, army of drones. It has a mini city that has like miniature buildings like downtown Atlanta. so they can train in how to swarm. The reason that Cop City is important to my story is because that is how they will quell unrest from now on. Whenever we decide to take to the streets in March, there will be a coordinated effort to take us down and quiet us via drones or dispersing a small little unit. That's what they're designed for. And some of what is going on in Israel is training that they received at the hands of these people. That's why it's been so effective. This was the first place that they executed it. But let me say this also. Despite all the things that are being put into place, despite them taking away the seeds so we can grow our own food, despite them putting us in food deserts and concrete cities where you have to depend on them to eat, despite all of that, the Bible says when the children of Israel were in the field in the wilderness, God provided them bread from heaven. My father and my grandfather always sang this song, that God is God and he don't change. He can do again what he did before. No matter the enemy, my faith says to me that you can turn your battle over to God, just like King Hezekiah. He was in a ridiculous situation. He was outnumbered, outmanned, out-talented, everything. And all this king did was got on his knees and said, Lord, help me and my people. The Bible says that in the darkest part of the night, that dispatched an angel. That angel landed in the Assyrian camp. He batted his wings, and the Bible says that when he finished batting his wings, 155,000 soldiers lay on the ground. All I'm trying to say to you is this. Maybe all these things are going on, but maybe it's because God is trying to show us, I'm your way out. Stop believing in other things. Believe ye in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life is what my Bible says to me. And maybe the only way to get God's people to believe in him and to focus on him is to take all the other things away from him, so that all we have left is to fall on our knees and worship, just like King Hezekiah.
Go ahead, preacher. We know we was getting pastor cookie this morning. We didn't know we was getting pastor cookie. Go ahead.
listen.
I know you had it in you.
Of my southern roots, sir.
There you go. Pastor Cookie coming out. She's standing
I
up.
know you had it in you.
Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir. The old way of protesting, the old way of things. Is it outdated? Because I'm sure you marched with quite a few people as well. Is that way out of Say it again?
Yeah, that was very powerful. That's very powerful. Sister just said, Cookie. I just got I was thinking about, like I said, my age. I'm 74, I'm 75. I've been through it. I've been a Panther, I've been in a nation. I did appropriation for the people. I did all kind of things. And I as I talked before in this line, it was again, coming from that spiritual base, growing up with the Bible and growing up around that was my family tradition. Scripture came to me, and it just came clear, right in the middle of some very horrific. Although we walk in the flesh, we don't war after the flesh. Our weapons. I recognized, and it was almost shocking, and something that I didn't believe, that I heard everybody talked about it. I didn't believe in the unseen realities. I didn't believe in this demonic power that exists and opposes righteousness. And I was in that study about Palestine and Israel. Netanyahu, they actually put together Hamas. They financed Hamas. They did all that so Hamas would do what they did, so they could do what they're doing. I think that anytime you try to talk about fighting, right? It's like you said again, like we get no factory, we don't make no bullets, we got no gunpowder, we got no supply lines, we got no outside. We got the other countries supporting us. We in the middle is fighting the technology superior military. I mean, I look, I look at what they're doing in Atlanta, and I have mixed feelings about it. But I see what these people doing all over the country. They running in stores, stealing stuff, stealing people's cars, knocking people in the head. Crime rate is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like if they don't do something about it, everybody got to get a gun and do it for themselves, and that ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. So I see, and what I hear every day in my life, I hear that there's a consciousness growing, and when the consciousness get to a point that people recognize that we spiritual beings operating in these different spaces, we got to walk on this earth in this life, right? But we ain't these bodies. We all connected, and you can't do anything to anyone else that you don't do to yourself. That it is a truth. That God is not mocked. As you sow, you're going to reap. When you begin to recognize that in your life, and you can't blame nobody for things happening in your life, because I can see what my thoughts, what I did, brought this on me. That was no racism. That wasn't a system. It might have operated through that, but it was me, because I knew what was right. I always knew what was right. I always knew what was the right thing to do. But it was hard. And so often I didn't do the right thing. I did the thing to press the people around me. I did things to build myself a reputation and get that pin when I walked in the holy city of Chicago, saying that I was a slayer of people, that I took people in. And I guess I'm saying this, I understand the spirit to fight. And we got to have that spirit to fight. We got to find out what weapons we're going to use. We got to strengthen up, we got to gird ourselves and put our shield and armor on in the spirit, and learn how to pray, and learn how to use these words that are magic that they use to destroy us. Use these words to bring blessing on people, and pray for your enemy. Sounds crazy. I mean, this teaching of Jesus ain't logical. It ain't no logical thing. It ain't something you can say. I get it. No, it contradicts everything you know. Turn my other cheek. My very nature tells me you're not supposed to fight you back. So what is it talking about? The spiritual development. You have to recognize that things are just happening to you. They happen through you.
Exactly.
You got a choice in thinking and how you treat people. And that's what's on my heart.
Good deal. Good deal. Ryan, then we're going to Badger. Then we're going to go to Cassandra. Ryan, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Mr. Hicks said it all. And Cookie, she dropped the bomb.
Yeah. Pass the cookie.
And it's all legit. It don't matter what walk of life you come from. At some point, no matter what your skin color is, you're gonna have to hit them knees. Because, like Mr. Hicks said, we all the same. We all spiritual beings. We're all connected. We all family in the end. And some people just don't understand it yet, but they're gonna understand it. Sooner or later, they're gonna understand. And
you're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today.
Yeah. I mean, like Tucson was saying, and I used to talk about this when I was a CO all the time. These guys come in here doped up on meth, and I'm like, do you understand like what you're doing? Like what you're putting in your body? Like, I understand, you know, it's a drug and it makes you feel good or whatever it is, but one wrong cut, and it's over with for you. And we talk about all the time these systems that's out here doing these things to us. We're not the ones making this meth. We're not the ones producing these chemicals. So go ahead and tear stuff up if you want to, but then what's going to be the aftermath? They're going to make that wrong cut, and they're going to send it out just like they did the first time, and that's going to be it. Game over. They have ways to quell rebellion. Just like Sister was saying, Cop City, messing with these drugs, drones, what they doing over there in Israel. You think they ain't going to do that to us?
Wow. It's coming this way.
It don't matter what color you are.
Yeah. It's coming this way. Absolutely.
They do it to us all. Yeah. Anybody, I mean, listen, I know it's a hot button topic, but just look at the left and the right in the country right now and how they argue over BS. just going back and forth, pointing these fingers at each other. Oh, y'all guys don't agree with this, so we're going to tear down the whole thing. And it's on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's no point. There's no point in it. It's not bettering anything for anyone. And all they're going to do is do what they want to do anyway.
Yep.
So what do we have left? To hit our needs.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that may be the only thing we got left, brother. In some situations, that's all we got left. Badger, talk to me.
Well, kind of picking up where that was leaving off.
Mm-hmm.
Like talking about the, MLK and the civil rights movement and everything, right? I remember when I was a kid, I was born in 86. So this is like early 90s and stuff like that when I was being taught about it. And how everything was fixed and solved and, they were still saying black people back then. And they have access to all these college grants and all these different things. They're being
reparations.
Yeah, they're getting reparations and, all this kind of stuff, the way they were teaching.
Or you use something else.
Yeah, I have no doubt. But as I got older, I started to realize that the way that they were presenting the information was very skewed.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to show me that after all that was said and done, after the murders happened and things, because all of them were murdered.
Mm-hmm.
The CIA knew JFK was going to be murdered. They finally released that. And they just chose not to stop any of it. So, and that's the wild part, is we went from that, knowing we had to get people out of those positions and stuff, to where we are today, where the average person that didn't go through that experience has this idea, it was taught this ideology that everything was fine and honky-dory and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When that's not the truth. So the way they presented the information was extremely skewed. And now the younger people who have access to the internet and everything else, those that actually look at what's going on, versus the people that just believe whatever's on Fox News or MSN and whatever other news channel. It goes to show that both sides are messed up. Both sides have a narrative, and they don't want us to get along.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been like that forever. The civil rights movement was supposed to fix a lot of that, and it did in some ways. But after they were murdered, they're like, all right, we got them, kind of afraid to send another leader up. So let's just continue to push this narrative that everything's all fine and honky-dory for a few years, and some people will forget. And it'll cause more unrest and more stress and more bias and this and that. And then you look at media and how they portrayed women and men and different races and the way they're approaching the whole thing about the border and so on and so on. It's supremacy work. They don't want us to come together and go get out.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've actually looked up, found the right procedures that we as the people can actually go through to get some of these senators and different things out of the positions that they're in. But the craziest part is, I would say 80% of the people that I have spoke to about that literally have looked me in the face and went, people ain't going to get along to do that.
Wow.
Think about that.
Stay right there. Let me do this. I got to do this before we move on. And we're gonna go to Cassandra. We're gonna go to Cassandra. Then Toya with a T. We're gonna circle our way back around. But I got to say good morning to my mama. Mama's watching over there. Good morning, mama. Mama, I see you. I see you been on with us early this morning. I see you. I see you over there, mama. Good morning. Love you, and love you dearly, baby. Cassandra, it's been a lot of things said about the way that the protest should go. And I know how you feel. You feel that the marching is still effective. It still works. It's just that, you can't go out here, turn up your community and doing the different things that you want to do because of the fact that you're angry. So Cassandra, talk to me about that for a second. A lot of people think that a lot of people seem to think, in the younger generation, they do believe that we have to go out there and we have to be disruptive. We got to go out there and turn over some tables, kick some holes in the wall, and do these different things. Put some holes in some places.
Yeah, they do. And let me tell you something. Anybody on here that knows me knows that I'm a fighter. But I also have the wisdom to know when to fight. Now, if you want to get physical, we can go physical. And as old as I am, I will pretty much meet you. I might not beat you, but I'll meet you somewhere in the middle. So we can go that route. And the people, the older people, us in our 60s, 70s, 80s, we understood, first of all, back then, you were going to die. There was no regard for anybody thinking about killing a niche. They had no apprehensions about it at all. And you know, to this day, I'm fighting for a group of 4 African Americans that were killed. I direct the Moores Ford Bridge lynching reenactment, which is the only lynching reenactment in the world that I've directed. This will be my 17th year. When that took place in 1947, I'm not talking about, no, that's not a long time ago. There were lynchings. It was considered the last unsolved mass lynching in U.S. history. We've had lynching since then that we kept undercover, but I'm talking about mass lynching. And when I did that, and when I do that, those families still want answers. So we have marched about it. We've gone to the Supreme Court. See, it's easy to talk about what you would do and what you could do. Back in the day, there was a fear factor that was so real that you almost never heard about a black man standing up for himself against a white man in the 40s, 50s, 60s. You were asking for instant death. Just think about that. And if some of you should have family members that have experienced that. Families, black families migrated to the north. Why? A lot of it was because family members were being killed, land was being taken, and these families crept out in the middle of the night to get out of Dodge. So, you know, we can talk about what we would do now, but back then, there wasn't a whole lot other than us marching, and then we were getting beaten, spit on, shot at, killed, whatever white people wanted to do, because they had that ability to do it and they used it. They had that type of brutality in their hearts and their minds, and they did it. So here it is, 2024, and we're still facing a lot of the same inequality and injustices that we faced back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We're still dealing with those today. Wow. What does that say about this country? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Good deal. Good deal. We got a few more minutes. We got 4 minutes before we get out of here. Toya, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me.
Sounds like we should have fought. I mean, we in the same situation anyway. I mean, that's my thing. If you already knocking us off, listen, I'm black in America. They've been knocking us off, and I've been ready for the business. I've been ready. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, even if I don't have a problem with law. I got a problem with injustice. If I committed a crime like I did, I went to jail, no problem. Hey, where the door at? But when it comes to y'all manipulating us, there's tons of us in jail that they lied about. There's tons of us dead that didn't really even look at the white woman, or just because they looked at the white woman. There's so much that we've already endured and died for. Why not die in the fight? We sign up for the military to die for a benefit. You sign up with the police to die for some. You go join a gang to die for some. But when it comes to us rallying together to fight against evil, just as black folk I'm talking about, now all of a sudden we too scared that they're gonna die. I don't get it. I don't get it.
When George got killed like that with the knee on the neck, George Floyd, and everybody was standing around watching. Is that
I would have died that day too by cops. I'd have died that day too, because I would have rushed him. I'd have did something, because that was too much. You know, now again, I don't want to interfere with the law, but you killing him for no reason. Now, wait a minute, hold up. And yeah, I would have got shot too. But again, that's not what we're brainwashed to do. We are already brainwashed and trained to sit back and watch like just scared sheep. And when the one sheep gets slaughtered, then that's what it is. But again, that's not God's mindset. That's a devil's mindset to tell me that I'm going to sit here and let somebody come slay me and my family. Again, like I typed in the chat, what the last man was, Harriet Tubman. I mean, I'm just saying, because many times after that, we know how many of us got murdered and killed without a fight. I'm not with that. I'm not with it being 50,000 of us and only 2 of us got balls. No. So if that is the case, that's why we are here the way we are right now, because we don't want to listen to God. We want to listen to what man said. We want to listen to what a white man said. We want to listen to this Bible. But when God talked to David, did David have a Bible? When he talked to Moses, did Moses have a Bible? When he talked to Noah, did Noah have a Bible? So there's nobody in this world that's going to tell me that I got to lay down for nobody. I don't care who you are, not even my parent. So no, at the end of the day, when it comes to us in America, until we are prepared to take back what is rightfully ours, like God said, we're going to be stuck here like we, what's his name? Wait a minute, I just watched the movie the other day, cut off his hair. Samson. Your strength is gone now. Because not only are you telling all your secrets, you've given away every gift that I can give you to be strong and defeat this. But now you've also given in to the word of the white man and not me. So let him be your master.
Wow. Toussaint, Cookie coming to you next. Toussaint, talk to me, brother.
If I don't want to see. I know I gotta die one day. I understand, but I'm like, somebody got to live to tell a story. So somebody got to have some in this fight. You got to have some wisdom. And sure enough, you need somebody on the battlefield. You have to see what we have. I think our rebel is against God, and He's the answer. Yeah, because you ain't gonna win.
Amen.
You're not gonna. I'm sorry. I know we bad dudes and bad women, and I put a scripture out there, and it says, "If my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves." Humble. We not humble people. We arrogant and mean and nasty, and seek His face. We don't know what God look like no more. We got people that we follow after, and they shaking their tail on New Year's Eve, and they packing peanut butter.
Wow. Wow.
But we're not seeking God. We're looking at man, and we're admiring him for his fame and fortune. We're not turning from no wicked way. We're getting wicked and worse and worse and worse and worse. And He gives us the remedy. We will not listen for nothing. We just won't listen. He ain't gonna change. He the same. And when we submit to Him, the battle already won. But no, you go ahead and try it your way. See how it turn out. And I tell you what, they're gonna have plot with your name on it. And that's what's on my heart.
Someone said, and I'm going to go to Cookie, then I'm going to go to Curtis. Someone said, I'd rather die on my feet than to live on my knees. I'd rather die on my feet than to live on my knees. I believe I believe that. Cookie, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me.
My brother, I believe that somewhere in the Bible, somewhere I read in the Bible that if my people who are called by my name, That's what has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
We have to find a way, as I said, back to one another as a collective. Somewhere I also read that our collective prayers are pleasing to God. So as a collective, we assemble ourselves, one people, one purpose, the same prayer. That's power. That is us becoming our own solar energizing system. Our people praying across the nation, same prayer, for the same outcome. We cannot do it without God. It is my belief there's no way to eliminate us as melanated people. There's no way. That says to me that in order for us to go, everybody has to go. But as long as we remain here, we still serve God. Because it is only one person that hung both sun and moon. It is only one person who gave his son so that we might have life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are things that are going on that are unpleasant. There are things that are in the works that are probably more unpleasant. But these things succeed because we cannot find a way to be on one accord.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we need to address it. And the reason that you know that that's at the heart of our problem, even in this little group right here, we have a hard time agreeing on things. There's always a voice of dissension. Humility. The Bible teaches us about humility. The Bible says that Jesus washed the feet of his disciples to demonstrate to them the importance of humility. The Bible says that Mary Magdalene washed Jesus' feet, dried them with her hair as a sign of humility.
Yeah.
It also tells us that Ruth laid herself at Boaz's feet to help him stay warm as a sign of humility. If we don't adopt some measure of humility and stop thinking that we know everything and nobody can tell us nothing and we're better and you owe me respect and I don't owe you any respect, if we don't cut it out, while we're having the infighting, the enemy is already preparing. They're playing chess, and we over here playing checkers. We have to find some measure of humility. And until we do, we're always going to be exposed. Close your ranks around the same purpose. That's where your strength lies.
Good deal. Good deal. Preacher, you preaching today, huh? Preacher.
Little bit.
Good deal. Good deal. Curtis, talk to me, brother.
No, she's right. I'm sorry. I had a very important call coming from one of my youth participants. But she's absolutely right. Now is the time to find your humility so that we can collectively come up with plans and treatments to deal with what we need to deal with. She was talking about that police thing, right?
Yes.
And it's funny you mention that because I never thought I would see this day. So y'all remember that man that Vladimir Putin had shot out the air that he killed, the one that was in charge of that force of his or whatever?
Yeah.
Guess who Putin replaced those troops with?
Who's that?
He replaced them with Blackwater. Do y'all know who Blackwater is?
I heard that name, but I don't know who it is.
Blackwater is a group of mercenaries that's owned by Betsy DeVos's brother. They're a group of mercenaries. They're basically a group of soldiers for hire. They are not governed by any kind of code of UCMJ. That means the Uniform Code of Military Justice. They are not governed by none of that. They go around and they lease themselves out to different governments for protection and things of that nature. Well, I got something on my phone this morning that said that they have been hired to replace, I forget the name of that band of troops, but you know, they got the files and the paperwork that Vladimir Putin actually gave the order to shoot the dude out the sky. Dude was supposed to have been flying back to the Kremlin to meet with Putin and to discuss why he felt the need to revolt. Once he got in the plane, Putin gave the order to shoot it out the sky.
Wow.
What's weird to me is with everything we got going on, and they speaking all this stuff, all this beef between Putin and America and this, that, and the third, he done turned around and hired American mercenaries who was trained by our military to now come over there and be his forces in this thing against Ukraine.
Wow. Wow.
People better wake up, man.
Exactly.
Black folk, white folk, Chinese folk, I don't care. Black, white, candy stripe. You better wake up.
Well,
because
go ahead, brother.
Because there's a collective effort. There's a collective effort to keep us as ignorant and as dumbed down as we possibly can. Why do you think we got all this beef with China? Why do you think that so much fentanyl is hitting the street? Where's it coming from? It's coming from China, Raheem. I kid you not. We all collectively on this phone right now, right?
Yeah.
We can all collectively send you $100, right? You can set right there on your computer. You can bring your computer up. You can go to Google, and you can purchase fentanyl right there and have it delivered right to your door.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
I'm telling y'all, there is a collective effort to destroy America from its insides. And until the people realize the collective effort, and until people realize truth is truth, whether or not you like me.
Exactly. Good deal.
What we saw. All right, I'll just land. I'll land right there.
Okay. Yeah, we gotta get on out of here. Let me go down real quickly. Ryan, anything on your heart, brother, real quickly? Ryan?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm here. You hear me?
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
Like I said a bazillion times since I've been coming on here, it's a plan. It's all part of a plan. Real quickly, these words that we hear in the news nowadays, you could just pick and choose whatever you want. Systematic racism, all of these big hot button topics. There's a cat who came out last week. He said, he's a little older than me, but he did some diving into these words. And these words didn't become popular until 2012. They weren't even used, really. And what this cat was showing you, and he went through every single one of these phrases that they use on the television. And starting in 2012, they went from maybe a 1% margin to a 99% margin of it being put in your ear every single day. Why do you think that is?
Programming.
Exactly what Curtis was saying.
Programming.
Keeping people fighting. Programming.
Yeah.
To make you think that because you're a black man that I hate you.
Wow.
It's all about programming. And like Curtis said, as soon as folks wake up and realize that this is their plan to keep us apart, because while we're apart, they do whatever they want to, it's going to keep happening.
Good deal. Good deal. And with that being said, it's been a great broadcast, man. This is only the 4th day of the year, man. We've been hitting home runs. Been hitting home runs, y'all. This is only the 4th day. But Cassandra, what's going on at 3 o'clock today, sis?
At 3 o'clock today, if you've missed any portion of this show and would like to hear it in its entirety, you can tune into DKMMediaradio.com at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Good deal.
I think I missed something.
No, you did good. You did good. I think you was using your radio, your broadcaster force that time though, because you came across a little differently in the way you said it.
Whatever. Whatever.
I think you use your broadcaster force. Tucson. Can I get you to Tucson? Can I get? You know what? Hold on, Curtis. Curtis, you there? Curtis,
Yeah, I'm right here, brother.
Pray us out, sir.
Can we remember to pray for Willa? Can we remember to pray for Willa?
Yes, absolutely. Add Willa. Yeah, she's not well right now, so add her into your prayers as well. But Curtis, pray us out, brother.
All right, with all hearts and minds open, let's go to the throne of grace. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we come on this day. We come on this day of asking first and foremost that you keep your loving arms around Sister Willa. Father, for she is your servant. Father, for her love is stronger than most people have in her pinky for you. Father, be the doctor in the hospital. Father, hold her close to you, keeping your promise that you would never leave her nor forsake her. Father, strengthen her family. For as we all know, she is a pillar to that family. Some may not be strong enough to understand. Some may be living in fear of what may come. But God, whatever your will is, we know that for your servants, your will is strong. Your will is mighty. And your will is never forsaken. God, strengthen Sister Willa. Be with her. Provide her clarity of mind, clarity of judgment, and love that surpasses all other. Father, we come right now after our day of asking to thank you. God, we thank you for the mighty people that you have assembled on this panel. God, we thanking you for the knowledge that you consistently allows to go across the waves. God, for you told us the people perish because of lack of knowledge. So we thank you because you allow for us to put out the knowledge that you have placed in our minds, that you have entered into our hearts, that you have allowed to exist within our spirits. God, we thank you. God, we thanking you right now for the Raheen Ajame family, just for allowing for them to extend this opportunity for folks to really reach out into communities of need. Some things that of you are better off heard. Some things are better off seen. But God, when you stroke with your pen, you just seem to bring it all together where it's heard, it's seen, and it's felt. So we thank you. Father, we thanking you for people like Tucson, people like Cassandra and Cookie and Ryan and Badger, people that don't mind taking the words that you have so graciously put on paper and showing to the people the lives that should be lived, the thoughts that should be thought, and the moves that should be made. God, we thank you on this day. And we will be ever so careful as to continue to give you the praise, the honor, and the glory. In the mighty name of Yahshua, Jesus the Christ. Let us all say amen, amen, and amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now, 10:18. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. That we shine some of this light on you for the morning glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please, please, please be blessed. Talk to you tomorrow morning. If God say the same, y'all have a great day.
Goodbye.
Love you. And we are out.